Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video I will show you how to scan for currency, URL, date time address, telephone number, shipping address, email address, all this kind of stuff from your live camera feed in Expo React Native for iOS using Vision Kit. So let's get started. So firstly, to create a project, as usual, you will have to go to this particular URL. You can open it over here, and I will be using this blank TypeScript template because it has less boilerplate code and it also has TypeScript support. Now to create the project using blank TypeScript template, we have to use this particular command. So just go to your workspace directory and paste this command. Feel free to use whatever template you want. I will just name the app as my app. Let it create the project. Now what I'll do, here you can see it has created the project called my app. I will just open this project inside VS Code. Now this is only for iOS. Like I mentioned at the start, we need to write some native code. For that we need to generate the iOS folder. The iOS folder is not present. To generate the iOS folder, you will have to go to this particular URL. So just open this URL. Here you will have to select iOS device, select development build. Here you can, I have disabled EAS because I will building it locally. I have already installed Xcode as well as Xcode command line tools. If you haven't done this, you will have to do it. I have already installed Watchman as well. Then we'll have to copy this command, go to our terminal, cd to our app, paste this particular command. Again it will install some few more npm install dependencies. We don't need to worry about it. Once that is done, this is the main command to generate the iOS folder for us. So next, paste this. Now by default it will give us some bundle identifier, automatically assign it. Previously it used to ask it, but maybe they might again change it in future. So yeah, for now they are automatically assigning us this bundle identifier. Now this CocoaPod installation will take a little bit of time, so let it finish. Once that is finished, I'll come back. Okay, so as you can see, my CocoaPod installation was done. Now it is asking me to select a device so that it can run my application. I don't want to run it now. I will just do Ctrl C. If you want, you can run it. Next step is we'll have to create a module as well. Inside that module, we will be writing all the code. To create a module or to read about it, you can go to this particular URL. Now I won't go into this particular URL. Like explaining this documentation. All we need to do is just copy this command, paste it over here. It will ask us for few questions like the module name and everything. I'll keep everything as default. Just press enter, enter, enter. Once that is done, we again have to do pod installation because we have created a separate module. So again just paste this particular command, let it run. This will again take a little bit of time. Now what I'll do is I will write all the necessary code that is required for this and come back, and then I'll explain it to you. Okay guys, so I have written down all the code. Let's go through it. So first what you will have to do is you will have to go to modules, my module, src, my module.ts, and here you will have to write a method. So this is an extra method which I have written called scan async. You can name it whatever you feel like. And it will return promise void. Now we will be making use of this change event payload value to send the scan data from native iOS side to React Native side. So here that's why I have kept this as void. We don't need to use string over here. So yeah, this particular thing is defined by default when you create an Expo module, so we don't have to worry too much about it. So yeah, so just all you have to do is just define this particular method. Once you have defined this particular method, if you will have to go to app.tsx. So I will show you how to use it first, then we'll look at the actual implementation. So firstly, here you can see, if you look at the imports which I'm using, I have imported our module first. Then I have also taken this use effect from React, and I have imported text, view as well as touchable opacity from React Native. Now if you see, ignore this use effect for now. If you see this particular part, here is our touchable opacity. So I've just created a button and I've given it some color as well as font size, and on click of it, all we are doing is that we are just calling this scan async method. So once this particular method scans something we will come inside this use effect. So here you can see we are constantly listening for this on change event. Like I mentioned previously, this has been defined by default when you create an Expo module, so it's not created by me. So once we get any data, so this is the actual data, I'm just printing it to our metro bundler, but if you want you can display it inside your text, or feel free to use however you feel like. Once that is done, here you can see I have this iOS folder. Inside that you will have to go to my module.swift, and before that what you will have to do, you will have to go to your project, go to iOS, double click on this .exe workspace, because we need to update the minimum iOS deployment target to at least, I think, iOS 17. That's what I am using. But if you want, I mean, you will have to use at least, I think minimum is 16, but I have kept it 17 just to be on the safer side. Yeah, that's unfortunately the problem of using this latest technologies, but I think iOS 17 is fine. In the next 6 months iOS 19 will come out, so I think this should be fine. So here you can see once our project is open, just go to your app, click on it. Inside general, here you will have to select iOS 17, so I have already selected this. Also, other thing which you have to do before I show you guys this code, you will again have to go to the main iOS folder, go to my app, go to info.plist, and here make sure you add this camera usage description permission as well. That is very important. Here you can change the string to whatever you feel like. Next, coming back to our my module.swift, which is present in the iOS folder of our modules to my module file. So here first I have imported vision kit, then I have marked this class as at least iOS 17 should be the target before you use it. And here we are extending data scanner view controller, because we need to override few methods from data scanner view controller. Now here you can see I have created our data scanner view controller, and now I am only looking for URL inside our from images with our live camera feed. But instead of this URL, you can replace it with currency, date, time, duration, email address, flight number. So don't forget the dot, so you can use something like this. That's why I've given you all these things. Feel free to use however you feel like, but I will just change it back to URL. Then the quality level is fast, recognize multiple item is false, and is high frame rate tracking enabled is false, and is highlighting enabled is true. Then here I have created one variable just to check whether this feature is available on your iOS device or not. Of course you will have to test it with real device, simulator will not work in this case. Then here this is created by default, so here inside this I have created this on create, and here we are just assigning a delegate to our data scanner view controller, so this which we have defined over here. Next, again this all boilerplate code is present by default, I have not done anything over here. Once after this view ends, I have created another asynchronous function. Now this name should be the same what you have defined it inside your TypeScript file, so over here, so this should match. So that's what I have defined in asynchronous function. And on the main thread I'm just checking if scanner is available. If yes, then we are getting hold of our root view controller. So this is the code for it, and with the help of that we just call the present method, and here we pass our data scanner view controller, animated is true, and then we just start scanning with the help of that. And now here these two methods have overridden it. I'm not really using it. If you want you can use it, if you don't want you can remove this as well, just keeping it just for your own knowledge sake. Then this is an important method. So like I mentioned, I am looking for URL from the live camera feed. So once I get the URL, this method will get called, and here this particular thing get calls, and we just stop scanning, we dismiss our data scanner, and with the help of this send event we are sending this back to React Native side. Again this on change event I have not defined it myself, this is by default present. So if you see over here, this is the on change which we are using, and it has a property called value which you can use. So that's what we are using over here. In case of failure I'm just doing a print statement. Also here again I am overriding few other methods as well. Again this is not really important, but if you want you can just use them. So these are all the methods, so if you want you can use it like this. So yeah, I think that should be it. I hope I have shown you everything. Now let me run the application and show you guys the output. Alright guys, so here is the output. I will just dismiss this. I have this, I don't know why I named it as pick image, but it should be scan. Anyways, I'll just click on this button, and I have already given the camera permission. So what I'll do is it has opened the camera for me, so I'll just minimize this a little. I have this image, and inside the front of my camera I'll just bring this image, and here you can see it has automatically detect the URL. And if you remember, we were printing the URL inside Metro Bundler. Okay, I think yeah, here is the value. So here you can see this is the value. So yeah, you can do the same thing for currency, telephone number, address, email address, shipment number, all that stuff. Thank you for watching. Bye.